Hi, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. With the Winter Olympics approaching soon, I decided to design a series of blocks to represent some of my favorite sports in the Winter Olympics. So I have opened Electric Quilt, I've set up my project, and I'm going to select Design a Block from Scratch. And I am going to select a new block, Pieced and Applique in Easy Draw plus Applique. And I'm going to go to the Tracing Image tab, select Import Image. I'm going to find my snowboarding block that I previously drew and select Open. And in the Crop tab, I'm going to just select OK. The first thing that I need to do is take a look at my precision work table. I'm going to use a block width and height of 12. It really doesn't matter. I set my snaps at 4x4. The reason I did a small number is I really don't care about the snaps because I'm not going to have snap to grid on. And with a smaller snap number, it just makes my workspace look less cluttered. I also don't care about graph paper cells as that's going to be turned off. Under my snapping option, the only thing I want on at this point is snap to lines and arcs of drawing. And really the only time I use this particular setting is when I'm creating foundation patterns. So once I've done that, I'm going to go to the Drawing Tool tab. And the first thing when I do a foundation pattern is try to break it into sections. And my goal is to come up with as few of sections as possible to recreate the image that I am tracing. So I'm going to use my line tool and I'm going to create sections. And the idea is that each section can be done as one foundation group. So if I look, my snowboard is probably going to be my first section. And then I'm going to have a second section. And notice when I draw these sections, I'm always drawing from one line to another line or an outside edge of the block. My third section is going to be to partition this third one. After a lot of looking, there was no way I could get that done with one section. So I'm going to create two sections from that. So I have four sections that I'm going to use for doing my foundation. Now I like to go ahead and add to Sketchbook at this point, and I'm going to do that after each section that I create, because if I have a problem in my drafting, I can always go back to the previous section that worked, and so I have a little bit less redrawing to do in my foundation process. So now I'm going to work on the snowboard section. And when I do foundation patterns, I like to work from the outside in. So I always think about that last piece I'm going to put on when I'm foundation piecing, and that's going to be the first line that I draw. So we're going to start with that, that outside line, and then I'm going to follow that snowboard. But remember, I can't do this one because it would be from a line to a blank space. So I need to draw something that goes all the way to another line. Now, one of the problems in using sometimes snap to line is it may choose a different line to snap to than what I want. I need to fix this right away because as soon as I put another line in, then I'm going to start breaking lines and I'm not going to have the straight lines that I need for foundation piecing. So I'm going to use the zoom in and I'm going to drag a box over this corner. And you can see I have a problem here. I crossed over lines, which actually violates one of my rules for foundation piecing. So I'm going to use the edit tool. I'm going to select this line and I'm going to move the ending node so it snaps into the other line. Now I'm okay. Now it doesn't exactly follow my tracing image, but that's okay. I'm just using that tracing image as a guide. So once I've done this, now I can trace this one because I am going from one line to another line. And I'm going to zoom back out, use my zoom in, and now I'm going to look at this bottom and draw my lines again from one line to another, working my way out in. Once I think I've got this, I'm going to go to the color tab and I'm going to color this section. So let me zoom back to fit to work table and let me go ahead and create that. And this is also a good way to make sure I don't have any bleed, don't have any holes, that I have a very good section. So I'm going to add that to the project sketchbook, go back to the Draw tab, and now I'm going to work on the outside, or the left side. So I'm going to use the line tool, again start on my outside pieces, going from one line to the other, and working my way in. So I've done the arm. Now I'm going to connect these two lines, these two, and this. So my first piece is either going to be this piece or this piece, and I can build on that and create that entire section. So now back to color. And I can color him or her. And I'm going to add that to the project sketchbook. Back to Draw, and now I'm going to zoom in to create this third section. And for this one, I actually do have some nodes that I'm going to want to connect to. So I'm going to now make sure Snap to Node and Snap to Line are on. Use my line tool, and I'm going to draw again from my outside in. Now for this one, that's just two lines. This is possibly a problem, right? Because it's going to snap to a node. So let me turn off Snap to Node with my edit, see if I can get that line picked up and moved over to Snap to the line. And this one is really two lines. This one I want to snap to a node again, so I'm going to turn that on so that I can do that. And turn it back off to complete that one. And for my last segment, I'm going to go ahead and draw that and that. And I'm going to go to the Color tab, and I'm going to go ahead and color that and see if everything is working on that. And that looks good. Let me just zoom out, and I'm ready for the head. But before I do that, I'm going to select Add to Project Sketchbook, and I'm going to take a look at my foundation. And so if I go to Print and Export, select Print Foundation, Oh, I love that. That's exactly the 4 sections I was hoping to do. So I'm going to go to options, change my block size to custom block size, make it 6 by 6, and I'm going to do a preview and see what it looks like. Now I can move my sections so they can all fit nicely on one sheet of paper. And I think that's looking really good. So I can go ahead and close this. Now I can go ahead and go back to the Draw tab, go to the Applique, and under my shapes, I'm going to use the circle, and it's going to create a circle rather than an oval. Ooh, and it's snapping to lots of things I don't want. So I'm going to turn off Snap to Grid. I'm going to use the Pick tool, and I'm going to make that head a little bit smaller. I'm actually going to hide show autofill so I can see my little image I'm trying to trace there as well. And so once I've got that done, back to color, and I could either make that a helmet color or I could make that a face color. And once I have that done, add that to the project sketchbook. Thanks so much for watching. For additional video tutorials on EQ8, along with information on my EQ8 classes, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter at www.onpointquilter.com.